Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. The Helios system is dying, but it is not dying a natural death. A star like Helios should have lasted another 4 billion years. Instead, it is collapsing in real time. The reason is not a cosmic phenomenon or a mathematical error. It is a parasite. Specifically, a biological weapon known as Project X-01 or the Star Eater. It was grown in a lab by the Solari Corporation, designed to be the ultimate weapon of siege. Drop one into an enemy's sun, and the entire system is erased within a week. But the weapon escaped. It found a home in the Helios sun, and now it is growing, drinking the very essence of the star. If the Star Eater reaches its final stage of growth, the sun will go supernova. 6 colonized planets will be turned into dust. Billions of lives are at stake, but the Solari Corporation doesn't care about the lives. They care about their lost property. They want the creature back alive and intact for study. They needed a hunter who could survive the impossible. They needed Silas Vane. Silas Vane sits in the pilot seat of the Shadow Wing. The ship is a masterpiece of dark engineering, but even it is struggling. The external hull is made of heat-resistant tungsten carbide, yet it is beginning to glow a dull, dangerous red. Outside the cockpit, the view is a chaotic, blinding ocean of white and orange. Solar flares, some larger than the Earth, erupt and dance across the horizon. The heat is so intense that it distorts the very fabric of the light. Vane is perfectly still. He wears his signature tattered black hood, the fabric reinforced with thermal-shielded fibers. His face is hidden by the featureless obsidian mask. The single glowing blue horizontal visor is the only point of color in the cabin. It reflects the scrolling lines of data from the ship's internal sensors. Temperature at 30,000 degrees and climbing, a synthetic voice says over the ship's comms. It is the Solari handler, a man named Draxler, calling from a safe distance of 3 million miles. Vane, if you get any closer your engines will melt. The corporation needs that specimen. Do not fail us. Vane ignores the voice. He does not work for the corporation's approval. He works for the hunt. He reaches out with an armored hand and flips a switch, cutting the communication line. He doesn't need a bureaucrat in his ear while he is dancing on the edge of a sun. He pushes the throttle forward. The Shadow Wing screams. The ion engines are fighting the massive gravitational pull of the star. The ship dives deeper into the corona, the outer atmosphere of the sun. Here, the laws of physics are stretched to their limit. Magnetic storms batter the shields, and the sound of the ship's hull expanding and contracting under the thermal stress fills the cabin like the groans of a dying giant. The blue visor on Vane's mask flickers as he recalibrates his vision. He isn't looking for light, he is looking for energy signatures. The Star Eater is a creature of pure plasma. It should be invisible against the backdrop of the sun, but it has a specific magnetic pulse. There, Vane says. His voice is a low metallic rasp. He sees it. A dark, jagged shape moving through the roiling sea of fire. The Star Eater is massive, nearly 300 meters long, shaped like a prehistoric predator of the deep sea, but made of shifting, translucent scales. It is currently latched onto a massive solar filament, its long needle-like proboscis buried deep into the sun's magnetic veins. It is drinking. With every second, the star grows dimmer and the creature grows larger. Vane prepares for the extraction. He engages the ship's autopilot to maintain a stable hover amidst the solar winds. He stands up from his seat and walks toward the cargo bay. Every step is heavy. The gravity this close to the sun is 4 times that of Earth. He feels the weight in his bones, but his tactical armor compensates, the internal servos whining as they support his frame. He reaches the airlock. He grabs a heavy-duty thermal harpoon launcher from the wall rack. The weapon is nearly as tall as he is, loaded with a specialized carbon nanotube cable and a liquid nitrogen-cooled hook. He hits the manual release for the outer door. The airlock cycles and the heavy door slides open. A wave of heat hits him that would incinerate a normal man in a fraction of a second. Vane's suit vents a cloud of pressurized coolant to prevent his internal systems from frying. He stands at the edge of the ramp, looking out at the heart of the Helios system. The sun is not a ball of light from here, it is a violent, churning desert of fire. The Star Eater senses the intrusion. It detaches from the solar filament and turns its head toward the Shadow Wing. It has no eyes, only sensors that detect the heat of the ship's engines. To the creature, the Shadow Wing is a snack compared to the sun, but it is a distraction. The beast lets out a pulse of electromagnetic energy that shakes the ship. The creature lunges. It moves with terrifying speed, swimming through the plasma as if it were water. Vane doesn't move. He raises the harpoon launcher. He waits for the exact moment when the creature's chest plates open to vent excess heat. That is the only soft spot on the monster. The Star Eater is 50 meters away. 40. 30. Its maw opens, revealing a throat of pure white light. Vane pulls the trigger. The harpoon fires with a thundering crack. The hook, glowing with a faint blue frost, screams through the solar wind and slams into the creature's chest. The Star Eater lets out a sound that is not a scream, but a shockwave that shatters the remaining sensor arrays on the Shadow Wing's exterior. The cable snaps tight. The monster tries to dive back into the depths of the sun, intending to pull the ship down with it. Vane is nearly yanked off the ramp. His magnetic boots hum with power, locking him to the floor plates as the cable hums with the tension of two titans pulling in opposite directions. The Shadow Wing's engines roar to life, the AI fighting to pull the ship away from the gravity well. Vane grips the cable with his armored hands. The friction is so high that the carbon nanotube line begins to glow. "I have you," Vane growls. He activates the secondary trigger on the harpoon launcher. A massive burst of cryogenic gas travels down the cable, hitting the creature's heart. The Star Eater's internal temperature drops instantly. It begins to crystallize, its plasma body turning into a brittle, solid mass. The creature stops fighting. It begins to drift. Vane activates the winch, and the massive weight of the Star Eater is hauled slowly into the cargo bay. As it enters the ship, the internal extinguishers fire, dousing the monster in a constant stream of liquid nitrogen. The beast is now a frozen statue of solar fire. Vane hits the door override. The airlock slams shut. The silence of the ship returns, broken only by the sound of the cooling vents and the heavy breathing of the hunter. He walks back to the cockpit. The Shadow Wing is battered. The hull is scorched, the shields are gone, and half the sensors are dead. But the mission is a success. Vane sits down and checks his bank balance. The credits from the Solari Corporation have already arrived. He doesn't look back at the sun. He doesn't look at the star he just saved from collapse. He sets a course for the nearest deep space outpost. The Helios system will survive. The planets will stay in their orbits. The people will wake up tomorrow and never know how close they came to the end. Silas Vane doesn't care about their gratitude. He only cares about the next contract. He pulls his tattered black hood lower over his obsidian mask. The blue visor dims as the ship enters hyperspace, leaving the fire behind. The hunt is over, but in a galaxy this big, there is always another monster waiting in the dark. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. If you want to survive the sun, you have to be colder than the void. If you enjoyed this legendary return of Silas Vane, hit that like button. Comment below. What would you do if you were standing on the edge of a sun? Subscribe for the next hunt, the Neon Assassin. The Shadow Wing is back in the black. The contract is closed.